Sorry, guys. I know I said one more thing like 20 things ago, um, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going on this because the way that I've done this for Chief Justice John Roberts and the way that I did this for Justice Clarence Thomas um, only really works if I consult pretty heavily with my get markers data frame. So I've cleared out my workspace. I'm going to load my packages back in. I'm going to read my case list back in. Come on, case list. And I'm going to read my functions back in. Okay, and I want to show you that we'll pick back up with this markers data frame. And this is good. And as long as I check with this markers data frame before I try to harvest any text, I'm okay. But if I go back to where I was in this step where I said get all opinions, and if I call to this justice opinions function, markers equals markers, justice equals, I'm going to change the justice to Stephen Breyer, and I'm going to ask for the majority opinions. The situation breaks down because Justice Stephen Breyer did not author any majority opinions in any of these 10 PDF files that I have in my list. So this here should really be get all opinions for a single justice. And I'm going to add a section to get the opinions for so I'm going to add get all opinions for all justices. And this won't be too difficult to do. I'm again going to leverage this get markers or this markers data frame, and for the time being, I'll just do this in a loop. I know I've done a lot of L applies, and I've done those L applies in a lot of places where I could have used a loop. For right now, just thinking off the top of my head, it kind of makes sense to do this in a loop, and I don't think for the amount of data that I'm working with, it's going to be too time consuming to do this in a loop. So let's go words as a list, and let's go for I in 1 to the number of rows that we have in markers. And the first thing that we'll do is that over here I have a filter case text function. Filter case text. So this will accept a case and a page range, and it will give me the text. And so I can use this, I can leverage this. So I can say text is filter case text, and let's see, the case is going to be markers. Let me remember how markers is set up. Markers case I is going to be the name that I want to feed it, and then the page range is going to go from markers start I to markers end I, and that's going to get some text. I'm going to test that, set I equal to 1, and make sure that that actually retrieves some text. Okay, and it does. So with that text, then I can send that text to this other function that I have that is called tokenized case text. I'm going to replace text with the tokenized version. Tokenize case text, and I'm sending it some text. And if I do that, I should get back a data frame, good, of words. That's what I want. But I also want to retain the information that's in markers. So I want to retain the case and the justice name and whether it was a majority or a dissenting opinion. So I'll do this with text. I'll do mutate, and I'll say case equals markers case I, and let's see, I'll add justice equals markers justice I, and I'll add opinion equals markers opinion row I. So then now this is a word count for this case, this opinion. Take case. Let's see, it didn't add my justice column, so I don't love that. Let's make sure that I've got, yeah, it's because I don't have justice in the markers data frame. What I have is called author. So that's kind of sloppy on my part. I've been using justice to denote the names of the justices, so I should have used that in my markers data frame, but I didn't. And so now this is text, and now the first element of words is going to be the data frame that happens when I do this. And if I do this for all of the rows in the markers data frame, the wheels are turning, things are happening. I have an empty list, which is a little bit of a bummer. So what was tripping me up a second ago is that I didn't actually assign words to anything. I didn't make the assignment, and so it was just looping through and populating an empty list with empty stuff, which was generating an empty list. If I actually assign the elements in words iteratively to be the value text, which is this data frame resulting from this operation here, I should get what I'm looking for, which is if I iterate through the rows in this markers data frame, then words is a large list with 26 elements because there are hopefully 26 rows in the markers data frame. And so now let's replace words with data frame r-bind list words. Let's do that portion of it. And now words is a data frame. That data frame has all the words. It has all the words in all the cases. I can verify that by asking that data frame unique words case. I have these cases that are in the case list. I have the opinion type. I have the justice. And so making the word count as we did before, we could do this. Let's see. Let's try. Let me grab my ggplot and top 25 words. Let's do the top 25 words. And now I'm going to group by, I'm going to forget about whether the opinions are dissenting or majority opinions, and I'm just going to group by justice. And then group by justice and by word, because I haven't summed these words yet. So first I've got to do the count. So I'm going to summarize. Then if I do another group by, if I arrange by justice and in ascending order, and then I do another group by for just the justice, and then a filter for row number 1, so row number less than 26 will retain the top 25 rows. Okay, and now I can do my ggplot, top 25. Let's see, x equals word, y equals count. And I'm going to facet on the justices this time and really pray that this works, actually. It'll be kind of a lot of work if this doesn't work out. It's not super readable because I put all the justices on the same plot space, but I think you guys can probably figure out how, if you wanted to do something like this, could probably figure out how to reduce the size of the text or cut it down to maybe the top 10 words. But this is a nice picture of what I wanted to go through, which was just getting all the opinions and the words for all of the justices kind of in one fell swoop, using these two nice convenience functions that I wrote and included in here in the functions SLIP 2019 analysis functions.r script.